Jim Weinman. I went in 43, served in the infantry, 88th Division in Italy, from Naples to the Brenner Pass.
This is Jim Weinman.
Noon. Registration was from 1 to 4, and we arrived up there, the three of us and four Lawrence rode in the same car, and we went through the registration that was very well organized. We were all color-coded. By that, all our badges had a different color in it, and each color represented a bus. And on my bus, there was Ray Heisner and Paul Lawrence and myself. And but we were aqua colors. They had 11 different colors and 11 buses. And we went through the registration. They had a Hy-Vee bag just like they give you for get a nickel off. And it had in there a fanny pack, and inside they had a disposal camera and some food, wrapped food, and I don't know, did I leave anything out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a cap, like up here, and the cap, and then of course the shirt. And I thought it was a great shirt because it had a pocket and a collar. And I don't like a shirt without a pocket. But then we went around and after we got there, we went and checked in the motel. We decided we were going to stay up at the motel because we had to get up at 2 o'clock. But that night, shortly after we got checked in the motel, and then it was time to go down to get on the buses to go out to the Hy-Vee Center where we had dinner that night. And it was so well organized, and you can't believe the number of people on the route. We went Fleur Drive to MLK and wound around, and everybody seemed to know the route because there was a lot of corners that had a lot of people on it. And when we got out there, there was all kinds of people that greeted us when we got off the bus to go in the center. And our local manager was there, and one of the assistant managers were up there. A lot of the assistant managers from all the stores around Des Moines served. They were the servers for that night, and they did a great job. It was so well organized you can't believe. And it just so happened that Maxine has a good friend from college. She's quite a bit younger, but from Simpson, that's the vice president up there, and she was looking for us. And Russ and I, she took us down and got us a good seat. We were right in front of the TV camera. And Maxine tells me I was on the camera, but just the back of my head. Probably the better part. So. And they had a program, and the guy in charge that works out of Council Bluffs said a few words. The chairman, the president of Hy-Vee, welcomed us all, and then they had a church choir. There was really a good choir. And then the guy on the next day on our bus, he was one of them on our bus that all the ones that were helping wore white shirts. And they had at least 50 support groups because, let's face it, 83 was about the youngest. And so there was a lot of wheelchairs, a lot of walkers, but they were well organized for that. And but we had a great meal out there at the Hy-Vee Center. I happened to be sitting a guy from eastern Iowa, not too far, and they served pork, and just to make conversation, I said, "That's a good meal. Nice to have pork." The pork producer's kind of hurting now. And then he showed me his button, he was a big cattleman. And he had a badge. So I thought, boy, you got to be careful. But no, and then when the program was over, we loaded back on buses and went back to the motel. And I don't think anybody stayed up too late. They went to bed pretty quick because they knew we had to be up at 2 o'clock. And then we had breakfast down at the Holiday Inn in the big banquet room. They had tables. We just had a muffin. And then we all lined up and went through security. And they had 6 rows. They had all of them from that worked over there at the airport. They were all over there. And really got through pretty fast considering there's 350. And then all the support people had to go through like everybody else. And we loaded on buses and then we drove out. And the plane loaded was at where UPS or FedEx, I'd never been down that road in that, exit into the airport. But then, well, they said some of them started arriving out there at 1 o'clock. And it must, by the time we got through security, it was 3 or 3:30, wasn't it about? And of course, it takes a while to get 350, 83 plus. There's one guy 100 years old on the trip. I don't know how many saw it in the paper, but I thought this was very humorous. His daughter in West Des Moines went to Delta, Iowa to pick him up. And while he was waiting for her to get there Monday afternoon, he got so excited he changed clothes 4 times. I thought, boy, I hope I can do that. But he got along fine. And so after we got to the airport and loaded, and we had steps to go up, but they were firemen from Ankeny and Johnson, Clive, Waukee, and I assume some from Des Moines, but they lined both sides of the stairs, and then anyone that needed help, they were able to get us right up on the plane. So I've got everybody on the plane, and I'll let somebody else go from here.